Welcome back, everyone, to another session of the Beyond Access series. Tonight, we're here with our colleagues from the Transition and College Access Center to talk about transition and start off the month of February really focused to transition. But before we dive in to that, I have a couple of housekeeping announcements, as I always do. So today, the same way that we do in every single Beyond Access session, you have the ability to ask your questions using the Q&A function. You can type in your questions throughout the presentation and we'll answer them as quickly as we can. But we also have some time dedicated towards the end to answer any questions that we can, as many as we can, at the end of the presentation live in the stream. After today's session, we're recording as we always do. We'll upload that to the YouTube channel to be able to access afterwards. And if you haven't already, highly recommend that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Beyond Access series to be kept in the latest for all things Beyond Access. We'll be sending out an email to everyone tomorrow. There are famously just in case you missed it type of emails. And I should say Ori on my team will be sending it, who is the man behind Beyond Access and making all the logistics happen. So thank you, Ori. In that email this week, there's going to be something additional though. There is two additional things. First, there will be a survey link for a quick two-question, it might be three questions about the family forum. For many of you who may know this, we're getting ready to plan our second family forum, which is a conference for parents. And we need your help knowing what days and times would be better. Today, we did some work to make sure that the survey is available not only in English, but also in Spanish and Chinese. And if you hear of any friends or families who might need it in a different language, please feel free to shoot us an email and we'll do everything we can to get the information to them in their language. You can always reach us at beyondaccess@schools.nyc.gov. The other thing that you will notice coming from us this week is information about the Disability Pride Visual Arts Contest. This is actually something very special. This is our 5th year hosting the Arts Contest. And it really gives students opportunities to display what they feel and believe when they hear the historic disability rights phrase, "Nothing about us without us." So highly encourage you all to take a look into it. If your child wants to participate, or if this is something that you think your child's school should jump on, we share it with every school, but it's always great to have support from parents. It's a great way to introduce conversations about disability rights and the disability rights movement into school. So highly encourage that. I have talked a lot, more than what I normally talk at the beginning. So I'm gonna transition us over into transition. As you all know, the month of February, we're focusing on transition, and we're really excited that we have transition and college access centers established in New York City, one in every borough, that focus on really supporting families and students on planning for whatever comes after school, is life after school, whether that means college, career, or independent living. And the transition and college access centers have partnered with amazing organizations throughout the month of February to bring you all content on transition. So without any further ado, I'd love to introduce the director of our Manhattan Transition and College Access Center, Heather Hermanson.
Thank you so much, Jose. We're so excited to be here today. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so as Jose mentioned, we are continuously working with partners from colleges, independent living organizations, businesses, you name it, to really ensure that our students, when they're graduating high school, that they're set up with a plan in place that is aligned to what they're interested in doing and what they would like to accomplish once they're leaving high school. Okay, so our overall mission here at the TCAT is really to ensure that not only do our students have a plan in place, but that they're also provided the opportunity to be supported through their academic, their social emotional, and their vocational growth as they are transitioning and developing their pathways after they graduate high school to ensure success. We do that through a variety of ways and a variety of supports, but our goal is to look at every student that we work with and we're connected with to ensure that not only do we have a plan in place, but that we have the right supports in place for them. And again, our goal is to work with all of our key stakeholders, our student first and foremost. We like to meet with our students to find out what they're interested in doing, where they're thinking of maybe going after high school, and then how to support the schools on what that would look like for the individual child. We also work very closely with our families, and we'll talk in more detail kind of what that structure looks like, but we truly believe that families are one of our biggest partners in all the work that we do, because without hearing their voice and their child's voice, then what are we doing, right? Like, it's very important that we are working together and ensuring that that pathway is set for them, but also that we can kind of do the research, do the work together, so we have that plan in place once they're transitioning out of high school. But the other thing is really, we work with our educators in a variety of ways to ensure that the programs and services, not only that we provide, but that we're doing that in collaboration with our educators and our school staff. One of our biggest groups that we're working with are the transition team leaders within schools, special education leads, special education teachers, APM principals, really to ensure that the programs that we offer are also in alignment with what is happening at the school. And as things change and as our groups change, we're there to support. We work with many different community-based organizations. One of them is here with me today, and we're going to share a little bit of how we work together. But we want to not only work with our students and our families and our educators, but we want to make sure that our business entities, our community-based organizations, are in alignment with what their work-based learning pathways are going to look like, what their career explorations are going to look like, and how ultimately they can get exposure to different industry partners. And we do that through a couple of different ways that we'll talk a little bit more about in detail. And then last but not least, to really look at the college pathways. Are our students interested in going to college? Are they interested in going to a vocational program? What are their goals, and how are we going to accomplish those goals together as a team through this process is one of our core missions that we do, and we work together with all of our stakeholders on. So here we talk about what are our TCAT goals. So our goals are, I'm just going to pull them all up here. So our goals here are really to look at how is how are we going to provide that focus, information, resources, and linkage to the individual student. So what do they need? What are they looking to gain? What do they want more information on, so they can make those sound decisions for next steps? And then again, how can we ensure that all of our students are a part of our work-based learning programs? We offer 2 throughout the school year, and we want to continue to establish those relationships with our community partners and our organizations, so that when students are placed in those work-based learning opportunities, they are aligned to not only their areas of interest, but aligned to specific career exploration opportunities, gaining skills and information that applies to what their experience will look like for that school year. And then, of course, we want to work with students and families and schools to ensure that they're on track to graduate, and how can we be of a support for our students in that process, and making sure that we provide a variety of opportunities throughout the school year, through events, through one-on-one sessions, through work-based learning cohorts and programs that we offer, to make sure that they're not only aligned to their areas of interest, but also aligned to what they are doing in terms of their graduation and diploma requirements. We offer training and support around the CDOS training, that's the state standards, and we want to make sure that schools are familiar and aware of those, and so we're consistently working closely with our schools to ensure they have information. We also want to make sure that the work that we provide is age appropriate and aligned with the student. Every student is different, every student learns differently, and so we want to make sure that we're there to provide age appropriate transition services, supports, and assessments that is around with that information to plan those activities of what the next stages and steps are. And we work very closely with our schools on that. And then, of course, we definitely want to make sure that our students and our families are part of the process. And how do we get them a part of that process? We offer a variety of professional learning opportunities for our families and for our students throughout the school year to make sure that the information we're sharing is current and making sure that it is aligned to things such as the 21st century skill set for students to gain access to information and pathways that are aligned to where they want to be in their next stage after they graduate. All of our work that we're doing is evidence-based professional development that goes through all of our teams and our groups around college and career readiness. And that is something important as things change, as things grow and develop. We want to ensure that the information that we share is relevant and current. And then last but not least, we want to make sure that if a student is interested in vocational programs or different skill sets, that they are provided those opportunities through our work-based learning programs. So, one thing I notice about the slides is we customize support for students who are in their last year of high school. But the one thing that I'll say, Greg and I will speak about the work that we've done together, is we do this ongoing, not necessarily in their last year. So, for example, our transition consultancies we provide for students 14 to 21. Some of our students are 21 plus. So we are consistently providing those opportunities and reaching out to our stakeholders and our communities to ensure that we are able to have those one-to-one access points and provide tailored supports for individual students. The other thing that we do is we provide post-secondary guidance through a variety of ways. I can say in March, we're hosting a variety of college activities that are going to be happening for our students and our educators, and really just sharing all the information that is available and out there for our students, and for school staff to be able to share with all of the different groups within their schools. Career Connections, we spend each school year to continue to build out our community partnerships. We've had to do a lot of pivots and a lot of changes due to COVID, but that it hasn't stopped us. And what we've done is we've just essentially tailored what the experience will look like for our students in the community. But we continue to build those relationships. We want to ensure that all of our programs that we bring in are aligned to the 16 vocational clusters. And those are listed on our website, and also through all of the programming and offerings that we offer. We make sure that we have speakers, organizations, businesses, people in those specific careers talking to our students about the different industries such as business, technology, healthcare, agriculture. And so we want to not only build those 21st century skill sets, but we also want to align to the different vocational clusters that are aligned to state standards, as I mentioned the CDOS earlier, but that also tailor to what the students are interested in learning more skills about, such as our work-based learning programs. We offer those throughout the school year. During the school year, we offer the Training Opportunities Program, where that is a school-based program. We are coaching schools, working very closely with them to ensure that their programs are open and available to the students within their school communities, helping them think outside of the box, especially for the fact that many of our businesses are still not back fully in person, but that we are, and we're here to help them through what that looks like, and internship programs through a variety of different businesses and organizations. We are always providing information around college awareness. We provide family consultancies, specifically when we're doing the transition consultancies. We definitely recommend for families to come and join us. We want to hear from their students. We want to hear from their families, so that when we're planning for those post-secondary pathways, we have all the information at the table, and then we can navigate that with them and the families. Independent living, that can be anywhere from ensuring that our students are connected to the appropriate adult agency, such as Access VR, OPWDD, do they need housing support, and what that looks like. And then also, of course, vocational programs for students who want to receive a credential in a specific area. We work with our community partners and share that information continuously with our families and our students and our school staff. This is really exciting. This is a pretty new program for our group. We launched this program last spring. It is the Pre-Employment Transition Services. Greg also, his team here from Bridges, he also does some of this work, which is really exciting. But essentially, we are partnered with Access VR, which is a state organization, to help ensure our students have additional support in what we've already provided them. And we do that through a variety of ways. And we have these 4 core features that we offer, and they're usually done during the evening, and they're provided by special educators with our students. They do that by those one-to-one transition consultancies, very similar to what we do in the office, but go a little deeper in their cohort. Each one of our boroughs service many students, many schools, and many different stakeholders. So they're just another layer of support available. Job exploration and counseling. So again, they're really working closely to figure out, what are you interested in? How is this going to apply to what you would like to explore more on? Self-advocacy is so important for our students. They provide that through training. They work in very small groups. Some of them do that one-to-one, but they also do small group activities, work-based readiness, and work-based learning for students to help develop their skill sets. So they're just it's another layer within our office, and each one of our office is working to build these teams to continuously support our students, so especially during the evening. So again, some of the things that are required is, here's the eligibility, 14 to 21. The hours are from 4 to 8. Again, there are special education teachers and teachers who are providing this service. So it would be after their school day. And then one thing, and this is outside of us, but one of the things is we want to make sure that the applications are completed and the signatures are completed, and our team is always here to provide additional support as needed. But we want to get all of that information in correctly so we can submit the documentations to the state, who reviews all of our applications and does that kind of approval process. And we like to make sure we have all of that in, and we're always here to answer those questions, fill them out. So as soon as the student application is received, completed, and entered in the system, it is then reviewed by our Access VR point. And then once we get the approval and green light to go ahead, we start meeting with the students. So we're getting ready to launch our SYP Summer Youth Employment Program. We're so excited. We do this in a collaboration with NYCDOE and all of our community partners. This program is really identified and working with students for 6 weeks over the summer. They're in 2 different cohorts. They are broken out by ages. So we work with a group of younger youth students where we focus on project-based learning for 14 to 15-year-olds, and then our older youth students from 16 to 21, as long as they're in high school. Students who have graduated and they just graduated, they can apply to the general lottery, and we have oftentimes helped our students get in even though they've graduated. So again, if you have any questions, I will make sure that everybody has our information at the end. And if you want to know more about this, this is just getting ready to launch for this school year, hopefully in the next couple of weeks as we wait for the applications to roll out. But our goal here is to look at, again, going back to providing opportunities for students around career exploration, skill building activities, and community building. All of our students that are in our Summer Youth Employment Program are placed into a work-based learning site, similar to our top program. The only difference is the top program is a school-based program, and we're working and coaching with schools to build those programs. But our summer youth employment program is something that the TCAT is working with special educators who come in the summer. We have a cohort of students who do a variety of activities with organization, businesses, trainings, projects, you name it. And again, aligned to those 16 vocational clusters that we talked about, anywhere from technology, business, healthcare is a little tricky because of COVID, but that is not something that we wouldn't try to find an alternative way to work with our students if that is their area of interest. Some of the important documents that we require, well, I would say NYCDOE requires for students to have ready, which is also good for students to make sure that they have their transition folder filled with these documents. They're going to need them when they graduate high school. They're going to need them when they're applying for college, when they are applying for jobs. And so even in our top program, our training opportunities program, these are some of the documents we also require, as this is a paid opportunity for our students, and it's good to have ready for when they graduate. They have all of these documents in place. Some additional requirements are through DYCD and their program, but every student will leave with a resume, which is so exciting. And we work closely with our students to ensure that they have their resume ready. Going back to students that are participating, if the school has this information ready, they will have this coded on their transcripts, and we work very closely in ensuring that our schools have these codes available, have these programs available for the student. So if you have any questions about this, we're happy to answer them. And that we definitely want our students to get credit for the work that they're already doing throughout the school year and throughout the summer. And the person in the school to also work with you would be the guidance counselor in relation to this 4+1 pathway. Again, every student develops a resume that they will leave from the SYEP program and we will have on file, and we work closely with building those, making sure that the resumes reflect all of their work that they've done throughout the school year, throughout the summer youth employment program. And we wanted just to continue that all of the experience that our students are engaged in are meaningful, and that we are here to continue to build those partnerships with our organizations, our community, and our businesses, so that students can be engaged and not only in their community, but also engaged with their learning around the different careers that they're interested in. And last but not least, but our students, if they're interested in going to college, we want to ensure that they are participating in this experience so they can share different experiences that apply to scholarships, which is another big function that our group does, is we're consistently trying to work with families and staff and students around how to pay for college and what that looks like. And we have many different scholarships on our website. We share resources every 2 weeks around scholarships and different programs coming up. And then we're happy to also sit with students on their college essays, and it's never too early to start applying to scholarships if college is a pathway for you. So as Jose mentioned at the beginning of today's session, there is one of us in every borough. And when I say one of us, there's a TCAT center, a Transition and College Access Center, in each of the boroughs. We are so happy to work with you. Please reach out to us. And if you're not sure, you can always reach out to mntcac@schools.nyc.gov, and we're happy to connect you with the borough that your students reside school in. Now I'm going to hand it over to Greg, and I'm going to put myself on mute, but you just tell me next slide, and I'm happy to move them forward for you.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Heather. Thank you guys for having us, Heather, Jose, the team, for the opportunity to come share a little bit about our program. My name is Gregory Meaves. I'm the team lead for the Bridges from School to Work program here in New York City. We've been fortunate to partner with all the TCAT offices over the last couple years. Just to touch on a few things that Heather mentioned, the SYEP program, we were lucky enough to provide some workshops for the students in the SYEP program through the different TCAT offices last summer. And the summer before that, we did some workshops for the top programs. So we try to help out whenever we can. And we're also doing a few workshops during the school year that we might touch on a little bit later, our college and career series with Manhattan TCAC. And then we're doing some workshops with Bronx, Brooklyn, and Queens that are either underway or getting underway shortly. But yeah, I guess we can head to the next slide, Heather. So this is our team here in New York City. We've got 7 staff members, and we're working really in Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, and the Bronx. And just to kind of touch on what we do, we work with young adults 17 to 24 who have an IEP, 504, any type of documented disability, and we help them to find competitive employment. So working one-on-one, mentoring really through the job search process, and also on the job as well, to help them not only get a job, but keep that job as long as possible. We can head to the next slide. So why work? This is a question that we really talk about with all of the students. And there's a lot of different reasons why somebody might want to work, and it also could, change what type of job that they're looking for. So some young people are looking to build experience for the future. They have some goals in the future, and they want to start building experience towards that now. For others, it's to make and save money. Some people want to have a more productive use of time or prepare for adulthood. And one thing that we've noticed is really building confidence. We've had a lot of young people come through the program who haven't worked before, really shy, unsure of themselves, and working with us, getting that first job, maybe the second job, and starting to build some of that experience, we can really see confidence levels increase as well. So that's one of the things that we always go through with them, figuring out why do they want to work, so that we can help figure out what types of jobs are going to be the best fit for them. Next slide. So what are we here to help you with? So some of the things that we do, we work with our young people to build employable skills, exploring career paths. At the beginning, when we're working with somebody, we'll do a lot of brainstorming to try to figure out what's going to be the best job fit for that individual person. We work one-on-one and really want it to be an individualized process for everybody. Not every job is going to be a good fit for everybody, and not everybody can work any type of job. So really narrowing down, what do they like to do? What are their goals? What's going to be a good location, schedule, anything that really goes into what's going to be a good job fit, and then coming up with a plan for the job search so that we can attack the process. We'll help them create a resume. If they already have one, we'll go through it and just make sure that everything looks good. We'll complete job applications together, especially some of the applications with the assessments at the end can be a little bit tricky. So we'll go through the process together just until they can get the hang of it. And so we can go through the assessment and kind of show them what they're looking for the different questions and things like that. When they get interviews, we'll practice those together, make sure they're comfortable with a lot of the common interview questions. We have a interview closet here if they need to borrow something for the interview. And we also try to go with them as much as possible to the actual interview, so that we know they got checked into the right place, and just to provide some last minute preparation and support, and then to be there afterwards. Sometimes they might get hired right on the spot, and there's some paperwork that we have to jump on right away. So we just want to be there to support at the actual interview. We try to connect them to great employment opportunities. We have some employer partners that we work with. So many of our students end up being employed through those different partners, but a lot of our students also get employed at places where we don't have a partnership. It's just something that resonated with them and a place that they wanted to apply to. So it can really work either way. A lot of what we'll do in the lead up to finding a job is preparing them how to be a great employee, knowing what are the expectations of the manager, how to be professional, how to be a good employee and be somebody that the employer wants to keep around long-term and eventually promote as well. We can go to the next slide. So Bridges does not get you a job. Some people, they want to come in, kick back, and they think that we've got a lot of jobs that we're just handing out to people. But that's not exactly the case. We like to say it's a 50-50 partnership. So it's teamwork between our staff and the young person. So we'll meet for about an hour a week together, but then there might be a few things that we want them to work on their own in between meetings. So if we'll work together, then they have some things to work on their own. And between the two of us, we'll find that job. So what do you need to do? What do we ask of our students in the program? Showing up to meetings. So like I said, it's usually 1 hour a week. We can either work in person or remotely. We have some school partners where we go to the school to work with students. We want to be flexible to make that work best for everybody. But we do want everybody to show up. If we need to reschedule, that's okay. We know things happen. Just communicate, and that's our third one there, communication, let us know. Also practice what we work on in between. So we might do some interview prep at our meeting, but then we'll send you the questions and have somebody ask during the rest of the week at home to keep working on those questions so that you're not just doing 1 hour a week towards your job search, that there's more work going on in between. And in addition to communicating about meetings, also when somebody gets an interview, I always say, okay, tell your mom first and then tell me second so that we can find a time to practice interview questions and make sure everything's ready to go for the interview. Our staff is really dedicated to working with our young people and always want to know like what's going on and how they can help. So just communication, keeping that line of communication open would be much appreciated. Also embracing opportunities. So whenever we work and come up with a job plan, sometimes things outside of that plan pop up and they might be a good opportunity for one reason or another. Maybe it wasn't anything we thought about in the beginning, but we can still build some skills towards long-term goals. So just kind of be open to those opportunities when they arise. And then the last one is just to play a role in your job search. So that kind of goes to what we were saying about the 50-50 partnership. We want to kind of mentor and support, but also we want our students to play a role in their own job search so that when they get the job, they're learning that process and procedure for being able to find more jobs in the future. Just a quick snapshot of some of our employer partners around the city. So TJ Maxx, Citi Field, where the Mets play, Shake Shack, the Bronx Zoo, Javits Center, CVS, the New York Aquarium, and the Friends Experience. As you can see, it's kind of a wide variety of places. We don't want to be one of those programs where everybody gets a job with the same 1 or 2 employers, because that's not going to be a good fit for everybody. So part of the individualized process is meeting a lot of these different employers and developing partnerships. If somebody's interested in working at some place we don't have a partnership, then part of our job is to try to reach out and create that partnership as well. Just a little example of where some of the students work. So Marley, one of our young ladies working at Burlington, Jalen at Dunkin' Donuts, and Teresa as a dog groomer at Biscuits and Bath. So a variety of places, as you can see. So the requirements for the program, a picture ID, so that could be a passport, driver's license, state ID. We say non-expired high school ID. So some employers might let you use that when you start, but others might require some type of official state ID. But we do want to make sure that our students have a picture ID when they start, as well as social security card, because when they start a job, they're going to need to show those on their first day. So we don't want somebody to get a job and then realize they don't have one of their documents and lose an opportunity or have it delayed while they go ahead and make sure they get those documents. So we'll work on that upfront ahead of time, and we can always help with that process as well. For our students who are under 18, working papers, that's another thing employers are going to be asking if you're not 18. So we'll help to get those through the school and everything like that. And then the last would be the IEP or 504 plan. And if you have any questions or you're interested in joining, you can reach out to Manhattan TCAC at mntcac@schools.nyc.gov, and they can connect you with us, and we can schedule that intro call and talk a little bit more about specific situations, answer any questions you might have, and hopefully get your son or daughter started with the program.
Thanks, Greg. We still have a little more time. I think it might be helpful. So one of the reasons why we're having our students kind of reach out to us first is so that we can make sure that we are connecting them to the right linkage and right partnership. So if we have a student that's interested in work or employment, we might meet with them. We might provide a pre-ed service. First, we're going to do a transition consultancy. Then we're going to kind of navigate. Do they want to? Does the student want to then have a pre-ed service, and then we might connect you with bridges or a variety of partners, or maybe we have a program that we're working with, or like our training opportunity program is still accepting applications. So would we then bring your work-based learning experience to working with the school and the community partners within that school? And so we kind of do this through a variety of ways. So and of course, if your student attends a school in another borough, we are always happy to connect you right to your borough. We would just ask what school your child attends, and then we would connect you. But one of the things that we find is sometimes it's just finding the person to ask. And so we try to be consistent with that. And that's kind of why we have this process. I do want to share a couple of things. So Greg and I have been working together for about 2 years now. And we have worked together in a variety of ways. As we mentioned, when COVID first hit, we had to think about how we were going to continue our partnership and our work-based learning programs virtually. And so we did that through a variety of ways. And we were running multiple classes a day over a 6-week period, multiple sessions with multiple teachers, helping students, build their resume, helping students learn, how to keep a job, what are good workplace behaviors, how to ask for a promotion at your job, or how to have difficult conversations or teamwork activities to work and get along with different partners that maybe you're working with at a work site. And so we did a lot of that work together. And then we also, we started this series that I think this is we're in our second year. Every month, we work together on bringing a variety of partners in the community to come talk about their career journeys, how they got there, what motivated them to pick that career journey, what it looked like for them. And then we invite colleges that come in and they talk to all of our families or all of our students. And we get a lot of school staff. We do get families from time to time that come in and talk about a specific industry that they're interested in and how they navigate. And then I would say the other thing that we do a lot together is we provide those work-based learning opportunities over the summer. So we'll be doing a very similar, we'll be doing resume workshops, we'll be doing different skill development and exploration. I don't know, Greg, if you want to jump in and talk a little bit. I know you're working with Brooklyn as well right now, and the Bronx, so maybe you want to share some of the things that they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So far for this whole school year, we've been working with Brooklyn TCAC for a career readiness series. We've been kind of tracing the job search pathway. We started out, we did a workshop on career exploration, and then we moved to putting together resumes. Actually, a little bit earlier today was our third one about where to find job applications and how to fill them out. And then we'll have a few more tracing the rest of the way through the job search, and then being successful on the job, and then ending with how to advance on the job. We actually starting tomorrow with our series with the Bronx, which is very similar, just doing a lot of workshops on job readiness and different aspects of job readiness. And then later this month, we're starting with Queens TCAT as well to do something very similar, different workshops over the course of the rest of the school year.
Yes. And the other thing that we're going to be working on is in March, we're going to be doing a transition fair focusing on college, how to pay for college, bring in different colleges from all over to talk about their programming, the programs that are available, the supports that are available in the school, and also how to pay for college. That's such a big one for us, and we want to ensure that our students are provided that support. And then, of course, to connect students with the accessibility office and supports available on deciding what campus that they're on. All right, so I think we are going to end here. Sorry, I was multitasking here. We are going to hand it back over to Jose.
Hey, Heather. So I'm going to stop the share unless there's any other slides that.
Nope, we're all good.
All right. So I'm going to stop the share and I'm going to throw us into gallery mode so folks can see all of us together, or as I like to call it, Brady Bunch mode. So folks, now is the time to put in any questions that you may have. We have a couple of questions in there already that we'd like to work through. I also, before we start, want to also introduce, because I should have done it at the beginning, Kimberly Ramones, who is the Senior Executive, I'm going to butcher this title, Kim, I always do it.
Yeah.
Senior Executive Director who oversees instruction and compliance. And one of the things that fall under that category is our transition work. So I just want to stop and say, we're really, really happy to have you here to help us with any questions or anything that might come up. So thank you for being here with us tonight. I can't hear you. I can hear you because for those of you who can't tell, Kim and I are in the same room, just like 20 feet apart from each other, maybe 50 feet, but I couldn't hear you in Zoom for some reason. Okay. So, all right, I'm going to work my way through some of these questions. And the first question that I have in here is around pre-ETS. And I think, Heather, this one's for you. So the questions that were dropped in is around pre-ETS services. What is the frequency? Is it daily from 4 to 8? What is the location?
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so right now the service is provided virtually. So the teacher will work with you and set up that schedule with you and your teacher or family directly. It is not daily. No, you don't have to come daily. What you'll be doing is essentially you'll be doing a 4-part series with the pre-ETS provider, which will essentially you're going to establish what are some of the things that you want to explore and work on, and you'll do that with your teacher based on what your needs are. If there are a cohort of students, it would be 10 or fewer students working together. So maybe it's a workshop that you're learning around different skill sets, such as like what Greg and I were speaking of, resume writing, exploration, and how to be successful in your job. So you would be doing that directly with your teacher, but it wouldn't be every day. And it would be a time you would work that schedule out with your provider and your child.
So there's a couple of questions about this, but you know how much I love work-based learning.
Yeah.
You know how much I love the TOP program and how much I love SYEP. So there's some questions around SYEP that I'd love to get into.
Yeah.
So can you share what period SYEP runs? Like, is it, from the moment that school ends to the moment school starts? What are the dates?
Okay, so in terms of date and program launch, they have not provided us our exact dates, but here is where I think we are. I think it's going to be from July 5th, which is usually the day after the 4th of July. It starts on July 5th, and it will go from 6 weeks to that. And the reason why I'm saying I'm not fully sure is it depends on if we're cohort A or B. Last year we were A, so we started the 5th, and our last day was August 21st for those students who needed to make up some hours. Things happen, right? So we provide those opportunities, but it's 6 weeks in the summer, and it's kind of that first week of July into that second, third week of August.
So who should folks ask? So we're talking to families tonight. So who should folks ask closer to the summer when those dates would be? Is there someone at the school who would have that type of information?
So that's a great question. So what we do when we are promoting the SYP program, and when we're pushing it out to all of our schools and our stakeholders and our partners, we share out standard communication routinely. So Manhattan does something we call Tuesday News Day that goes out to all of our partners. I know the other boroughs do a very similar type messaging. And so when those dates are put out, the school would know, or you could directly contact our office and we would be happy to answer those questions. TOP is a school-based program, and we're working with the school. The SYEP, we are facilitating that with NYCDOE, our special education teachers who are hired, and all of our community partnerships that are doing our work sites with the students.
So continuing the conversation around SYEP, I hear you say that like the Transition and College Access Centers facilitate SYEP.
Yes.
What are the advantages there for students to have the Transition College Access Centers, the TCACs as we call them, be kind of facilitators for this?
Well, I would say one is we work so closely with our students throughout the school year. So we definitely get to know them, and we get to know kind of what their areas of interest are. But the other thing is every student that works directly with us are coming with licensed teachers that are going to support them through their experience, as well as an instructional team and our operational team that's helping them navigate logistics. A lot of this paperwork that Greg spoke about that they need for their program, or paperwork that we need for our work-based learning programs, or what we call the transition folder when they're leaving high school, we help the students make sure that all of those documents are together and explain to the students what why those are important, why we need them. We have them on file, and then also they're supported with teachers through their learning and their experience in the process.
Do you know how many or how I guess how many is the right point of the question, like or how likely it would be for a student who is applying for SYEP this year to have an in-person opportunity or a virtual opportunity? Is that something that like there's specific, does that depend on like our partners? Does that depend on the student's preference?
There's so many things, Jose, on that. You know, I have to say, we have a team actually went on a community walk yesterday in the rain. Today was sunny. We were like, oh, we picked the wrong day. No, but we went on a community walk because we really wanted to hear from our partners and see what does this look like. Many of our businesses, you know, they're still remote. And there's a lot of factors with vaccinations, and there's all these things going on. And it was really good for us to hear that from the community, but that doesn't mean that we can't think outside the box. And that's the one thing I think Greg and I have experienced together over the last 2 years, is that is exactly what we're going to do. Depending on, we want to ensure that students are working in their area of interest. How do we do that with all of these things happening around us? And I think it's by having these conversations early, planning ahead of time, sending out the communication so our families, our students, our schools are ready, and also being mindful of our partners that we work with, and making sure that the experiences for students are meaningful. So I think it's going to depend, unfortunately. And I think that we have to move with how our organizations are opening up. Many are still remote, and they're coming in slowly, but that doesn't mean it's all or nothing, right? Last year we had a program where it was a hybrid program. Students did some in person and some virtual. Some students preferred virtual. Some students preferred in person, and we had programs in schools that they were doing their in-person work with. And so we're exploring all of those options with our partners that we worked with last year and that we will continue this year, as well as you know, trying to support all the different stakeholders that we work with routinely.
Thanks, Heather. Gregory, there's some fans of the Bridges program in here, and there's some folks who want some more information. And one of the questions that's in here is around the program itself, if it's part of the school-based work program or a lottery program, or if an alternative, or if it's an alternative to those types of programs. And you responded a little bit. Could you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we're just a regular nonprofit separate from the school system and everything like that. Just we work in partnership with the different TCAT offices and the DOE. So really our program is something that you could do together with other programs or separate. As I was saying kind of in the presentation, we don't have jobs where we pay students. We're kind of like a mentoring program to help them get jobs at retail stores, restaurants, sports stadiums, things like that. So, you know, we can do that in combination with any other program that that your student is doing as well.
There's a really interesting question. I think this one's more for Heather in here around how do you all work with high schools? Like, how do you push this information out? Because this is like really good information for those who are here and who will see the recording. But I think that there is a concern for some folks who are with us of how do we get this information out to the other folks who aren't here to join us, able to join us tonight?
Yeah, so I can speak for our group, and I'm sure the other TCACs are doing this as well. We all have a stakeholder guide of all of our contacts. So all of the borough centers, we work very closely with their family liaisons and welcome centers. So we're consistently sharing family opportunities, work opportunities through them. Our group just presented at the President Council 2 weeks ago, and then a month ago. So we're consistently meeting with schools and being invited to the PTA meetings. I know the instructional team, the Manhattan instructional team is there tonight, actually. We have another one next Wednesday. So we're out and about in that way with our family connections. But we also send out, as I mentioned, Tuesday, Newsday to all of our transition team leaders within the school, all of our parent coordinators that we have contacts for, our special ed liaisons, our community partners, and our BCO contacts, our Borough Support Center. And we are consistently sharing resources, opportunities, due dates, deadlines. And then we have a group of parents that we routinely met with. We keep them on our list, and we share those upcoming opportunities, because in addition to us going to a school and maybe doing a series or running an event at a PTA meeting, we also run citywide family events, which there's also, I believe the Bronx is doing one tonight on college considerations.
I'm going to come back to that in a second. I just caught myself on mute. But before I go to that, could you give some examples of the types of, and this is crazy because I know it runs the gamut, but like the types of jobs that students can get on either the TOP or SYEP program?
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
Yeah, so during the TOP and SYEP program, right? What are the types of like work-based learning experiences, the types of jobs that students can have while participating in these programs?
Okay, so last year was fun. One of the ones that I love to talk about is we worked with a 3D printing company that taught the students the coding side of how to develop a claw. Like, think of the old arcade games where you could toy, but they learned the technology behind that to create a 3D claw. And they did that in a team, and they all looked different, and they all chose different kind of ways of how it looked. But every student walked away with one of those. The other thing that we did is we worked with a program called Girls Who Code, and they teach coding for young women. We have worked with Bridges. We have worked with culinary groups. We have worked with a couple of schools that built out their work-based learning program around advocacy specifically. We had a group of students very passionate about civic engagement advocacy. So one of their community partners within their school hosted a work-based learning site for students from all over Manhattan, not just from that school, which was exciting. We work with our custodial staff in Manhattan, and one of the groups of students worked to dredge a drain where it actually helped during Hurricane Ida. Because of the students working on that project, the school did not flood, and it was something that needed to happen. And so they got to learn the work around that. There's so many.
Heather, I think you're forgetting one of the most important partners you've ever had.
You were
Thank you.
one of them. That is actually correct. And we would
Thank
love
you.
to have you back.
No, it honestly, from someone who's like on the other end of like the supervisor of a student using the top program, it is actually quite amazing to be a host for a student, and something that I still remember Christian and think about him all the time. And think about our summer students. And it's as much as it's a great experience for students, it's a great experience for an employer as well.
Yes.
Because you don't realize really how much students, just the youth in general, can contribute. And they show up every time and they blow you out of the water with what they bring to every work experience. So thank you so much for sharing. We're pretty much at time, but we could keep going on forever. Thank you for joining, everyone who joined. Folks, like I said, we're recording. We'll upload tomorrow, and look out for those emails. Appreciate everyone coming in, everyone who was able to drop some questions into the Q&A. I think we got to pretty much all of them. So thank you very much, everyone. And until next time, stay safe.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care. Bye.